I used to be an all or nothing kind of person. Either I do this whole perfect content strategy for the next 6 months, or I better just not do anything at all. Either I have it all figured out, or I better not even start posting my content. That was until I read the book Atomic Habits that really changed my perspective on things, and it made me realize that actually it's those tiny habits that we do every single day that really move the needle forward in our business. And today I'm going to share with you 10 lessons I took from the Atomic Habits book that really changed my life and my business. The 1% rule. This is such a simple rule that I have taken with me in a lot of areas of both my life and my business. And that's to simply ask myself, how can I make this 1% better? When I'm creating content, whether it's on my YouTube or on my Instagram, I'm trying to ask myself, okay, I'm working on this video right now. How can I make this 1% better than it was a few months ago or than it was last week? We often get stuck in this perfectionism, and I used to do this so much. I used to put off creating my ebooks or creating courses or creating content because I thought, I just have to have it perfectly figured out before I can even start. And the truth is, we all start with that messy action. We all start posting content randomly. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know our niche or the topics, and that's perfectly fine. As long as we start and we put ourselves out there, we put the content out there, and we just get 1% better in time, that is going to add up so much in a few months or a few years. If you go to any YouTuber's content and you look at their first videos when they started, they are usually not that great, right? Myself included. But it's really awesome to see everybody progress. And that's just how you get there. I used to compare myself to where they are now, right? Those really successful content creators, those really successful YouTubers. I used to compare myself to that. Like, I need to reach that standard. And while that's a nice goal to have, we do need to start from the bottom. We do need to start just first getting confident in front of the camera, then, increasing our editing skills, then getting better at filming, improving the audio quality. But that's just 1% better in time. It doesn't all happen at once. The 3.5 rule. There's this analogy in the book. An airplane is on a trajectory, but if the pilot changes that trajectory for even a 3.5 degree, that plane will land in a completely different town or even country. So when we look at our business like this, what is the trajectory that we're currently on, right? If we keep going like this for the next, let's say, 5 years, where's this business gonna go? And when I used to be someone who would post very randomly, I wasn't very consistent, I didn't really know what I was doing, my content was probably not on the best trajectory. But the more we improve our skills, that trajectory changes, and it changes usually for the better. So it's really about taking those small steps that can change your trajectory to a much better place. The habit loop from this book was really eye-opening to me because content creation can be really, really hard sometimes. Then these 4 steps in the habit loop were just brilliant. So make it obvious. And this is the cue. The cue is the thing that triggers the behavior, like, for example, creating the content. So it's all about creating those little routines in our days and those little rituals that help us realize, okay, if this is happening, then it means it's time for me to film a video. When, for example, what I started to do, because I was struggling sometimes with posting on Instagram, I struggled to include it in my day. And so that led to me being inconsistent for a while. So what I'm trying to do is, I know every single day, or most days, my toddler will go for a nap around 12:30. But that's when I will usually sit down with my afternoon coffee. So I'm trying to give myself this cue. When my toddler's napping and I'm having that coffee, that's my time to publish on Instagram. It's also a good time for my audience because they're quite active on there. And so I'm doing this kind of habit stacking, right? So I already have this habit of having a coffee in the afternoon. I might as well add something on top of it because that is the cue that's going to trigger in my brain that it's time to publish on Instagram. It doesn't take long, but sometimes we procrastinate even on the tasks that are not very consuming anyway. And this is how I've been able to stay consistent on Instagram and grow my Instagram to nearly 200,000 followers now, which is just absolutely insane. And if you're struggling with your Instagram and you need help with this, I have a freebie for you. I put together the strategies that went behind growing my Instagram into this Insta growth checklist. So that will be linked in the description box, all free for you to help you get started if you're unsure what your next step should be. Make it attractive. And this is the craving part of the loop. I realized as a content creator, if I am waiting to feel motivated and to feel like filming a video or filming an Instagram reel, it's very likely that motivation is never gonna come, or not very often. So instead, obviously it needs to become part of our habits and part of our routine. But one way to do this, instead of waiting for that motivation, is to make it a fun process. So for example, this morning I'm filming a few YouTube videos and I had a mini dance party in my living room while I was setting everything up, just because it makes me feel good and it makes the process more attractive to me. I'm less likely to procrastinate, and it just puts you in a good mood before you create content, for example. I find also really helpful for this to take my time and enjoy the process of filming, because I do love filming videos, but when I'm doing it super rushed, then it's not enjoyable anymore. And the more we can make this process an attractive one and one that we want to do, the more likely we are to stick with it long term. And in case you didn't notice, the one thing that actually helps you grow online is to stay consistent. And it doesn't sound as sexy as, oh, go viral in 30 days, but it's just the truth. If you stay consistent for a few months or maybe even a couple of years, then it's very, very likely that you will see results. Make it easy. This is the response part of the loop. And this is where we're actually going to perform the habit or the action that we want to take. And I realized that the easier I can make the process, the more likely I am to do it and to do it consistently. And what's super helpful here is to reduce that friction as much as possible. Like, for example, yes, it would be ideal if every single video I put out there would be perfectly scripted, perfectly researched, lots of intricate B-roll and, cinematic content. That would be amazing. But it's not really realistic for us to do this consistently, especially when we are a one-person team, like myself. Like, I film, I edit, I do pretty much all of these tasks in my business. And so, yes, I try my best. I try to improve every single time. I try to do it 1% better. But I also have to give myself a limit. Like, I need to make the setup easier and the process easier so that I'm able to do this every single week and put out a video every single week, for example, on my main channel. And what's really helpful when you're trying to get into the habit of content creation is to focus just on the next step. So, for example, when I wake up, my next step is to put on my makeup or do my hair, get ready for the day. Then my next step after that is to set up my camera, set up my laptop if I need to, and then it's the filming process. And this is where Newton's law is really helpful. He says that an object in motion stays in motion. Once you get the ball rolling, once you start setting up, you start doing everything, your brain goes, well, I put all of this effort into setting everything up and putting my makeup on, I might as well film this video. And also make it satisfying. This is the reward part of the loop. So either make it an enjoyable thing or make it rewarding at the end. And the reward can be something completely up to you. Like, maybe it's going out for a coffee to treat yourself. Maybe it's celebrating the small wins. And these all 4 parts of the habit loop are the steps that help you build a habit and also stick to it in the long run. And that's really, really helpful in content creation. The identity habit. This is a mindset shift that really helped me, because I realized how I identified myself as a content creator played a big part in how consistent I was. We often tell ourselves, I am the kind of person who, and if we say things like, I'm the kind of person who's just not very consistent, I'm the kind of person who doesn't belong here, #imposter syndrome, which I still struggle with sometimes. Whatever we say to ourselves, our brains will always try to find ways to prove to ourselves what we believe. So it's very subconsciously, but it's this cognitive bias. So when we tell ourselves, I'm actually a consistent creator, I'm a creator who's really working on this business because 1 year or 2 years from now, I want to be able to have this as my full-time job. I want to monetize it successfully. When you say these things to yourself, some really interesting things happen, because you are way more likely to take the action that will get you there. And so for me, it was really helpful to have this kind of mindset check-in with myself, because I realized how I identified myself as a content creator and working in my business actually makes a huge difference in how consistent I am and how likely I am to create this content. The immediate return. When something like a reward or something that we see as, reaching that success, when that feels like it's so far into the future, it doesn't feel very tangible. And with content creation and a social media business, especially, it can be a very slow process in the beginning. And that's the part where it's very hard to stay consistent because you're not yet seeing those rewards. You're maybe not yet making that money in your business, but it's also the time when it's the most important to stay consistent, because if you can push through that initial phase, then the rewards are just going to be amazing. The truth is that once your social media business starts growing, it kind of snowballs. Like, yes, you start getting paid from YouTube ads and maybe blog ads if you have a blog, but it's also a whole lot of other income streams that add up on top of that. So your affiliate links make more money, and then you get more brand deals, which pay a lot more money. Maybe you sell your own product, and you reach a point where you can't really believe the amount of income that your business is making, when a few months ago, maybe you weren't really making that much. And that's just the truth of how an online business works. So in the beginning, when it is that slow process and it feels like you don't know if this is ever gonna happen, it's really important. And what I found really helpful is to focus on the small accomplishments. Like, focus on the fact that you've stayed consistent this month. Focus on the little milestones that you have, like reaching 1,000 YouTube subscribers or reaching 1,000 Instagram followers. Focus on those and celebrate those, and do what you can to stick to it, because that's what's going to really help down the line. Never miss twice. I love this rule from the Atomic Habits book, because yes, sometimes life happens. You don't get a chance to maybe film your video for the week. What he says in the book is that missing a day is okay. So missing once is fine, it happens. But missing twice is the start of a different habit that might not help you reach your goals. So for example, for my YouTube, for my main channel, I have the schedule of posting once a week, and I try not to miss that at all. If it happens once, fine, I will let that slide, because life happens. Sometimes my kids get sick, I don't get to film a video. I try to pre-film and have everything ready so that if that happens, I have flexibility. But if for some reason I don't have a video out, that's okay. I just try to make it a point to not miss 2 in a row, because once I do that, then it just kind of snowballs in a bad direction and I start to get inconsistent, and then that's not very helpful when we're trying to grow a business. And I think it's okay to change your schedule. Like, it's okay to say, okay, this month I'm posting every single day on Instagram, but then if next month you want to adjust that, that's okay. It's just about creating a schedule and sticking to that, and never missing twice on that schedule you've set for yourself for the month, for example. Systems over goals. This is probably one of the best things that I learned from the book, is that we all used to see these New Year's resolutions. We all used to set them, and they would be these really amazing goals, but they're so broad and they're so general that they feel very, very hard to attain. Because the truth is, yes, it's really great to set a goal, and I have a goal for my main YouTube to reach 100,000 subscribers, and that's great. But what really matters is to create those systems, because simply setting that big goal is not going to be helpful unless I actually take the action that will get me there. And that's through the small things and the small habits that we do every day. So that's through creating those checklists, those daily to-dos of me accomplishing these tasks, creating those routines where I film a video every week, for example. It's those systems that we create for ourselves that ensure we stay consistent. That's what's actually going to be really helpful, rather than writing down a big goal and keeping our fingers crossed. Let me know where you are at in building your own online business. Let me know, are you on YouTube? Are you on Instagram? How's it going for you? I would really love to hear from you, and I will see you in the next video.